All right. Have Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson turned the corner after being benched?
Bryce Young, no.
I think they have. I think he has. It's just the corner was just a little bitty corner that it was just like a like.
Is he better than he was?
He hasn't completely 180.
Is he better than he was? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I'm just saying. I just don't. He's turned a corner, but he's not a franchise quarterback corner.
In the right direction.
Yes, that's
okay. Anthony Richardson for sure is heading in the right direction. Bryce Young, we'll know more about him. They play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We'll know more about him.
It will be really fun to watch Bryce Young go out there and.
He's played the past 2 weeks 2 of his best 3 games of his career, in my opinion. So from that perspective, I think he has. It's just I'm not ready to go to bat that's going to lead him to the best.
It was the Saints and
who they played.
It was the Giants.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
So I'm not.
Anthony Richardson. The stories out of Indy, and you read them and listen to stuff around the league, is that he was not the first one in and the last one out.
Yeah.
He's 22. And I say this all the time. You know this. You're 22 in the league. Don't blow it. You only have so many years to make that money. You only have so many years to earn that money. We're all knuckleheads. 22. I was a knucklehead at 22.
Yeah.
Doing really stupid things. But when you're a knucklehead at 22 and your life is all in front of you, you say, okay, I got a lot of time. When you're in the NFL, you don't have a lot of time. So make it. And I've told many a kid this, and through the years, I said, look, guys, you only have so many years of earning in that body. Yeah. Don't blow it. Be the first one in, the last one out. And you know what? It seemed like it did. The light went on for him. So that was a good thing to bench him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the people that were like up in arms about the benching. It's like he was playing awful, and he was getting worse. Any other position, if that guy plays corner, if that guy plays wide receiver, if that guy plays defensive end, and he's doing that, they get benched. So why treat the quarterback differently? Like mentally, it's probably even more important to make sure that he knows that when things are going bad like that, that's not okay. Like that he needs to put the onus on himself to change things around and make sure they get better. And if he's tapping himself out of a game.
He stood in there and went through some reads the other day, which he didn't do early in the year. And so I think that's it. He needed that, and it's a good thing. But, it's one game, so we'll see going forward. But I think it worked for him.
You bring up an interesting point about first in, last out. And about halfway through my career, we got swipe cards for the building.
Okay.
And I thought nothing of it at the time. But now we have swipe cards here at work for every door that we go in and out of. It's to track when you get in the building and stuff like that. So, I mean, I remember as a rookie, guys would roll in at 8:15 team meeting. Guys would roll in at 8:14, through the door right by the team meeting. Now, I mean, they track that stuff. So, I didn't even think about that. But they know when Anthony Richardson's in the building.
Well, they track your iPad, too.
Everything.
I mean, track everything.
They know what you were watching on your iPad, for how long,
much film you're watching,
where you rewound it.
Right.
So you can't just have a bot on your iPad rolling.
You don't need to do what was it, the Johnny Manziel, where you give him the wrong
Jamarcus Russell. They gave him a tape and they said that it was. We got some plays that we want to put in for tomorrow on this DVD. Take it home, study them, and when you come back in tomorrow, let us know which ones you like. And he came back in the next day. He was like, I liked them all. And there was nothing on the. It was like.
See, and that's the other thing.
It was like a Pulp Fiction DVD.
Before there were iPads and all that, Peyton Manning, remember, he built the film studio in his basement so he could go home and spend the night watching film. Yep. Why would you not? I don't understand why.
What are you
going to play? What are you going to play? Video games all day? I mean, come on. Oh, I'm going to play Madden instead of doing the work and playing the real stuff. I mean, it makes no sense to me. You only have so many years.
They just don't get it. They don't have the perspective. Is usually what I think it is. They just don't have the perspective of what it takes to get to that level, and two, just that they think it's it'll happen. You're too young. You're too young. You're too young.
As a kid in my house, when I was a youngster, when my dad was playing, and even the 30 years since he's been in television, there have been stacks of. First, it was. VHS tapes stacked up super high. No, before then it was like a smaller VHS. I don't even know what that is. It was like a tiny VHS.
No, it was they were DVD, not DVDs, rewind. They were like
yeah. And then it went VHS, and then I remember when it was DVDs. That was like a big deal. Dad got a DVD player.
You get a stack of.
I'd go out down to the kitchen at like midnight to get a snack. A 280-pound junior high kid. I'm hungry at night. Dad's in there watching, taking notes on his legal pad. But like that was the way of life in the old guard, really. Guys studied all the time.
But
now the guys who study stand out like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And people are like, this guy's here and he studies. I'm like, that should be the way everybody does it.
When you played, did you know every trait and tendency of the guy across from you?
I knew what to expect. I knew what he had won with, and I knew what guys had pounded people with.
Yeah.
And I didn't go by names. I was like 98, 2 steps in, if he raises his right hand, this is what's coming. Watch the inside, club rip.
On third down, he does
this is what he goes to.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to know. See, that's one thing, and I will say this, having been around the league for a long time, one thing that's lost is the fandom of the modern player. And by that I mean the history. They don't know the history. They don't follow, like, when they go pick Pro Bowl voting and stuff, they don't know who they're voting for around. They don't know who plays on the other teams. And there are certain guys that did. Like you mentioned Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers knew everybody on every team. Peyton Manning knew everybody on every team. Baselli knew everybody on every team. There are certain guys who that lived it and loved it. I think nowadays the modern player is a little different. And there are some that I
think a lot of them are overexposed, and there's just constant with social media. Having the entire world at the palm of your hand, you kind of want to be able to get away. And some of these guys back then they loved football so much that when they left, they were still yearning for more.
Correct.
And, I grew up in a house with a guy that's like that. And my older brother, Chris, is like that. Mike Renner is like that. There are guys who crave more. You're the same way.
I love it.
So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation, but I think they're overexposed now. And in the old days, they had to get their fix.
There is a lot more now. I mean, back in the day, you couldn't swipe left and right like these guys do easily, All
right, true or false? The Cowboys will not win another Super Bowl with Jerry Jones as the owner.
True.
Pete?
I would say that is true.
Jerry Jones, currently 82 years old. He's probably on
to be 100.
I was gonna say he's probably on quite the concoction of age.
He doesn't look
extending drugs.
He doesn't look or act 82.
That's true. The only problem is I don't think they win one within the next 10 years. I just don't think they're built to right now. And I think it's going to take a Herculean effort, especially when you're in a division with Jaden Daniels at this point. So
if they were to get everything right this offseason,
I'm going to say false. They don't win one.
How long would it take? If they got everything
so right, you get a top 5 pick, you really say you flip that into some more picks and you really start hitting on. I mean, you'd be back within 2 years.
Well, you got to remember, they also let's not forget. Okay, let's just say you get top 5 pick, you trade down, you get extra picks, you get some big defensive interior linemen. Then you got Parsons, then you got Lawrence, you got
those guys get better.
Yeah, and then you got they've always been overshown.
I love him.
You get Bland back. You'll have players on a defense. The defense can flip quickly if you get two big bodies in the middle of that defense.
I mean, and if you hire like Brian Flores as your DC, like someone who's like a true high-end DC right now in the NFL as your head coach, it could be. All right. Which one of these teams still has a chance to make the playoffs? 49ers, Bengals, Seahawks, Dolphins, Rams. Any?
49ers, Seahawks, Bengals, Dolphins, or Rams.
Yes. Which one?
I think you got to look at both the NFC West teams because that thing is
okay. Open. So Seahawks, 49ers, you think still have a chance?
Yeah. 49ers is really
and Rams
stands out to me.
Well, they're three NFC West teams.
49ers in particular, in my opinion.
But their schedule's brutal. They play.
I don't know if they do.
They play at Green Bay and then they play the Bills.
Green Bay too high on the list. So
they play the.
I'll say the Rams. I'll say the Rams and the Seahawks. Yeah, I mean, like the NFC West realistically has a chance, but I think the Rams is the only team where I think the Rams end up still.
They have so much experience.
Right, but they play. Don't they play at the Packers? Then they play the Bills, right?
The 49ers.
Yeah.
Yes, they have a dogfight going in here.
At Arizona, they close out.
And those teams have a dogfight too, guys.
Right. Packers, Bills, Bears, but it's you can only.
They can only afford
the way they've played. It's not like they are
been the 49ers.
For sure. When you're playing at the Packers, at the Bills, against the Bears, which again, that's a loss. You're playing the Bears, against the Rams, against the Dolphins, at the Dolphins, against the Lions, and then the Cardinals.
That's an awful run.
That's a bad run. They would be a miracle.
7 games without a layup.
What's it going to be? It's going to be
Cardinals' schedule is favorable. Really,
Cardinals are in a good spot.
Cardinals are in a great spot.
They're the
but I do think the Rams could make a run too.
They're number 10 now.
Yeah,
on your power ranking.
The Cardinals look at the Cardinals. This Cardinals schedules. They play Seattle this week, at Seattle, isn't it? Yeah, that's a tough game for them.
That'll be tough.
Yeah, that's a tough game. But then
they play at Seattle, at Minnesota, against Seattle, against New England, at Carolina, at the Rams, and then 49ers at home.
But see, nothing.
So
like when you look at the Cardinals, you don't sit there and say, "Oh, that should be a win." They could lose.
that's the thing. They could lose to the Patriots,
Right?
They could lose
and no
to
one
Seattle
bats back.
twice, San
Maybe
Francisco.
Right. So, but the team that nobody wants in the playoffs is the Bengals.
100%.
Nobody wants to play. And
Just not gonna stop
nobody in the AFC wants the Bengals in the
With the
playoffs.
I
same thing
agree.
I'm saying about the San Francisco roster having and coaching staff now having experience in meaningful football games, you don't want to play against Joe Burrow.
No.
I've seen it in person.
They're legitimately. When's the last time that the quarterback who had the best statistical season in the NFL, because Burrow was was on a team that didn't make the playoffs?
Dan Marino, maybe.
He made the playoffs.
Because Burrow has
Every year?
most yards,
Most
most touchdowns in the
I know
NFL
he
this
threw
year.
for a lot of yards every year.
Yeah.
Only 4 picks all season, 27 touchdowns. I mean, he's on pace for
He's
his best season.
He's playing great.
Who would be the guy?
I have to look that up.
Yeah. It's been a while, though. It has been a while. All right, last one here. Biggest threat to the Lions in the NFC is who?
What? Eagles? Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, they are.
You think they're back?
And I said they were pretenders like 3 weeks ago because I hate Nick Sirianni. And I caught that little line you put in your power rankings. You still want to fire Nick
Well,
Sirianni?
because my joke is every team starts up 4-0.
Guy thinks I can't read. He's throwing jabs at me.
No,
like-
but every team starts up 4-0 against him because he makes some really stupid
You know
decisions.
what? You're absolutely right. But then you also have to net it with having Saquon Barkley on your football team. So now you're up by 3 points at the beginning of the football game. It's a great deal they got going on there. Yeah, I mean,
I'll say I think
Lions Eagles would be.
I think
a
it's whichever NFC North team they play in the playoffs, because I think they'll play one of them eventually, because one of
I
them's
still
going to be the
think
wild
it's the
card.
Packers.
Well, that's why I think whichever one they end up having to play in the playoffs, because you're going to have to play a team 3 times,
And you're gonna
potentially have to beat
cover.
them 3 times because they've already beaten the Vikings.
I'd rather play the Vikings with Sam Darnold than the Packers with Jordan Love. That's just me.
The matchup against the Packers doesn't bode well because your lack of pass rush enables Jordan Love to be creative and off schedule, which is where he makes huge plays. And that coverage unit has to guard that plethora of receivers and
I still
options.
believe that if the Packers hadn't blown the game to the 49ers last year, they would have went to Detroit and beat them.
Don't.
Yes.
That's me.
Because
Because I believe it too, but
They
I'm
would've.
obviously biased.
They
They
were
were hot.
they were hot. They were
Ugh.
cooking.